What's going on, good, beautiful, and blessed people? It's your boy, the Warrior Prince, speaks back at it again. And before I get started, I really want to thank all you guys for frequenting my channel. I've noticed that the views are going up, and I really do appreciate it. Um, Getting in the world of the realm of content creation, it can be a grind, and I just really appreciate everything, even the disagreements. I appreciate those too. But anyway, so let's get started. So today's video is going to be about Black conservatism, Black liberalism. And for one, is it godly? Two, is it something that, you know, we should even get involved in? Now, part of this video, I'm going to be reacting to the Breakfast Club interview with Dr. Michael Eric Dyson and Charlemagne and DJ Envy. And I don't really, I watch the Breakfast Club from time to time. I don't really agree with most of their political stances. But this video, it caught my attention because I noticed something between Charlemagne and what's this called, DJ Envy and Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. So I want to play the video and I want to react to it, and then I want to give my commentary. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Okay. Let me put it right here. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. My bad. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get that cracking real good.
Jay-Z said, "Well, yeah, hey, homeboy, Playboy, where's those diamonds? That's not what you said. Where's the Hummer? That's not what you said you had." So we know a lot of rappers lie. That's what they do. So Donald Trump was attractive because he was a liar. He was full of mendacity. Here's a guy, we're talking about Joe Biden. Back in the day, you and your daddy are racist in terms of the buildings you owned and not wanting black people to be there. So if we're gonna do
now, Michael Eric Dyson is a very, very, very intelligent man. He's very smart. Now, when you see someone like this purposely leaving out both sides. First, he's talking about Donald Trump. He's talking about how Donald Trump appealed to black men because Donald Trump, first of all, people didn't know that much about Donald Trump back then. Black men didn't know that much about Donald Trump. They only knew Donald Trump owned stuff, Trump Towers, Trump Plaza. They only knew his name was on it. So the assumption was he owned all those things. Now, most people didn't realize that one of the only few buildings that he actually owned was Trump Plaza in New York. Trump Towers in New York. But a lot of those other things, Trump actually, how do I say it? He basically was the face of it. His name was on it and he was the face of it, because when people see Trump, they think of, oh, this must be high quality. And they see his hotels, they think, oh, this is high quality. So Trump went through bankruptcy, and this was a part of the deal in bankruptcy, that people would use his name. They would make the profit off his name. He would get maybe a few $1 million as kickback. But he didn't really own it. But we didn't know that. We didn't know he didn't really own it. So it wasn't really about Trump living a certain, like driving cars and all that. You know, black men didn't really know nothing about that. It was just really about the name. The name meant wealth. And that's one of the reasons why Trump is a billionaire. You can hate on him all you want. You can say has all these failed businesses, but his name alone, the Trump name alone, is worth billions. That's what the equity is in his name. Okay. So, but for Michael Eric Dyson to sit here, he said that Trump and his father was racist. They didn't want black people coming into their building. Then he said, he's comparing us to as Joe Biden has never done anything remotely like that. And here's my problem with Michael Eric Dyson and that statement. What racist policies has Trump while he was in the presidency, while he was in office? What policies that disproportionately affected black people did Trump put down? Name one. Now, what policies did Joe Biden, while in the Senate and as president, what has he enacted that disproportionately affected the black family? Let's go.
Do it. Let's go tit for tat. But my point is that, yes, at this point, don't we understand enough of why black people might be attracted to him? Some black men, let's go there. Some black men because of the swag of patriarchy, a man in charge. He's talking about grabbing stuff. This is vicious repudiation of an enlightened sense of masculinity. You ain't got to do that in order to be a man. So everything that Donald Trump...
See how he trivialized masculinity, how he took the machismo, bravado. Every man does that, just being honest with you. But do you see how he tried to say that the reason why black men are attracted to Donald Trump is because of patriarchy? First of all, patriarchy is not a bad thing. If you're supposed to be a believer in the Most High Yah, you already know that his order is patriarchal. So it's not a bad thing for black men to say, this represents the vision that I have of being in charge. See, you have to be careful when you listen to some saying an enlightened society. We live in an enlightened society, quote unquote, enlightened society in America, and we're confused as hell because we're not enlightened. Okay. Sometimes we're not enlightened. We're not. What are we supposed to be enlightened to? No one's beating women and doing all these things that are subjugating women. Being patriarchal, a patriarch means that the man is the head. That line directly up with the word of Yah. And this is why, if any black women is listening to this video, this is the reason why y'all life is so hard at this point in time. Because you have people talking about equality and feminism and that we're an enlightened society. They want you to go out and work and knuckle and buckle just as hard as men do. And baby, that ain't your place. You aren't even built for that. Your body physically ain't built for that. Your mental can't handle that level of stress. You are a nurturer, not a conqueror. This is why, listen, they're pushing certain things on you through politics. This is the reason why you as a black woman have it so hard in this country, because they have removed it. They're trying to remove the man away from you and say, hey, y'all are on equal playing field, equal footing, and you're not. Ask the average single mother, are they exhausted about doing these things on their own? Ask them, because it's not their place. It's not your place. But people like Michael Eric Dyson, they will have you to believe that it's something wrong with a man saying, hey, I should lead. So you got all of these black men, and he's admitting you got black men saying, I want to be the head of my family. And he's somehow saying that's a bad thing. And that because Trump talks that, that's why black men are attracted to him. And that's just so trivializing, and it's so not why black men are attracted to Donald Trump. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you just like this right here. And I'm gonna say this in terms of relationship. Most times when you lose a person, it's not because somebody else came along and took that person away from you. Most times when you lose somebody in a relationship where that person leaves you and go be with somebody else, like almost simultaneously the breakup happens because they're with somebody else, you've been lost them. They were just looking for the opportunity. You've already lost them. And so the Democratic Party, for one, been lost black men. Black men just didn't have the information that they needed to make an informed decision. Now, most black men have the information that they need to make an informed decision, and they're making the informed decision. And they ain't even say they all the way Republicans. They just are not Democrats. They're just not going to vote for Democrats no more. So my options aren't be with you or be alone. That's not my option as a black man. That's not it. The Democratic Party has been lost black men. Black men are finding out what the Democratic Party did to them. And they're saying, you know what, this ain't gonna work for me. You're not offering me anything. You've never offered me anything but jail time. You are the one that came up with the mandatory sentences. You are the one that came up with the 3-strike laws. You are the one that came up with the prison to pipeline. You did that. As the Democrats did that. Joe Biden was the architect. Him and Strom Thurmond.
Trump represents that is attractive to us ain't great. So let's do away with the kind of patriarchy, the misogyny, the sex.
It is great. A man being the head of his home, a man leading his home, that is great. That is great, Michael. That's great. It is. Look, black men is great. You being in the head of your home, leading your home, ensuring that your legacy is intact, that is great. That is amazing.
That roils so much of our community in ways that are destructive, whether we see it in the church or the temple or the synagogue and so on, or whether we see it in schools.
Listen to this.
Yes, let's
listen to this. I'm gonna listen to it in whole.
Enough of why black people might be attracted to him. Some black men, let's go there. Some black men because of the swag of patriarchy, a man in charge. He's talking about grabbing stuff. This is vicious repudiation of an enlightened sense of masculinity. You ain't got to do that in order to be a man. So everything that Donald Trump represents that is attractive to us ain't great. So let's do away with the kind of patriarchy, the misogyny, the sexism that roils so much of our community in ways that are destructive, whether we see it in the church or the temple or the synagogue. And
look, see what I'm saying? These are the same people that'll sit here and tell you that they're about God. He just sat here and said that a man being in charge ain't great. He said a man being in charge ain't great. Said no matter where you sit at, whether it be in the church. First thing he went to is whether the church, the temple, the synagogue. So he's basically saying ignore the way of God. Ignore Yahuwah's way because that way ain't great. That's the way God's order is not great. This is what Michael Eric Dyson just said. So he's saying the appeal to black men to be in charge and to do it Yahuwah's way ain't great. Because we're in an enlightened society. Do you see that? Most black people, you have to understand, a lot of these so-called intellectuals get up here and all they do is produce word salad. But if you pay attention to what they're truly saying, they're using buzzwords like misogyny, right? Because like I said in one of my videos, you got to get out of your mind when you're trying to do something the way of the Most High. You got to get out of your mind the myth of misogyny. Okay? Men and women were designed by the Most High for very specific roles. That's all it is, man. That's it. Women have no place in masculine spaces. You're not built for it. Women must be, look, women, let me tell you like this right here. As a soldier, as a police officer, or whatever person that constantly and consistently has to put themselves in the line of fire from gunfire or whatever, you cannot be protected if you don't have your protective vest on. Your vital organs and all of that sits behind a protective vest. Meaning you cannot adequately as a woman be protected by a man by trying to be by being right beside him or in front. In order for you to be protected, you got to be behind him. He has to cover you. I didn't say beneath him. I said behind. Cover. He's your protection.
So on, whether we see it in schools. So the point is, yes, let's examine why Black people may be attracted or others. And we ain't going to change no minds, but we can change enough minds within our own community to say, don't vote against your own best interest. And then that.
So what is our best interest, Michael? What is Black people's best interest? Is abortion our best interest? No. Are our women being unprotected and unguarded our best interest? No. Keep voting for the same people that destroyed the Black family? Somehow that's in our best interest? I don't think so. All they keep want to give, those same Democrats that you're going to be trying to vote for. Let's go.
In that case, I think there's little choice about who we should vote for on that day.
What would you say to Black conservatives who say our best interests are conservative?
That's why so few of them. Their numbers speak for themselves.
That's not why so few Black conservatives. That is not why. That's not why so few. It's not like conservatism and liberalism started and they had even playing field. That's not why. You know that most Black homes, most Black people come from a Democratic home. And we know that most Black people don't own majority of the businesses in America. Most Black people are employed, not employers. Conservative ideas is something that we have to go research and find out on our own. So don't sit here and say like they had a choice between conservatism and being a liberal, and they just decided, oh, let's just be a liberal because oftentimes the people that are right, they're so few in number. The people that are right are the ones that's few in number. It's called the narrow way, not the wide way. Oh, Michael.
Right? Black conservatives are quite interesting. You had a wonderful interview here with Candace Owens. She ain't, what's interesting to me, Candace Owens ain't apologized for what she said about George Floyd. She made it.
Why should she apologize if that's how she feels? And that's me saying that, and I don't even agree. I don't even agree with what she said. So why does she have to apologize and all these other people don't?
An entire documentary, besmirching this man's attitude posthumously. No apology for that. No apology.
If that's how she feels, why should she apologize?
Well,
exactly, Charlamagne.
First of all, because she should apologize because she's wrong, number one. Number two, she can feel that way. And that's your point about feeling. Let me connect these two. Black people, what we feel as opposed to what we do. Sometimes you don't feel like loving your partner. You don't feel like loving your wife or your husband or the person you're with, but you do it out of what? A sense of duty and obligation. Those are not bad words. So just because she felt that way, the facts show that's not true. The stuff she tried to make up has been empirically disproved. At the same time, here's a man lying on the ground, begging for his life that millions of Black people can identify with, and she's trying to turn it into something.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Who do you think expanded the police's authority and the police numbers? The Democrats did that. Joe Biden actually did that. He was actually one of the main people behind that. Who do you think flooded our community? Who do you think did that with police officers? Who do you think did that? Who do you now? The Republicans and the Democrats. Now, here's the thing. Let me say this. Excuse me. And I'm gonna make this point in a minute. I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. And I personally feel like no black person should be a Republican or a Democrat. Me and Ice Cube see eye to eye on this thing. I don't personally feel like black people should be beholden to any party because neither party has your best interest in mind. When you go to apply for a loan and you got, let's say you've been had your credit been established for about 10 years. In order for those people to actually give you a loan, they first check your credit report. They check your credit history to determine whether you are a wise investment or not. So we can just go back and check the party's history to determine, is it wise for black people to make a further investment into the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or politics in general? We are collectively 30 million people. Do you not understand the power that black people would actually have if we decided to go against the grain and do what's in our own best interest for a change?
Conspiracy of black, refusal to be responsible. Her and Jason Whitlock, these are people who are destructive for our community. And Candace Owens gets a break because
Candace Owens is not destructive for our community. Candace Owens is not destructive for our community. Candace Owens is not. She's not. I'm sorry, she's not. I don't agree with a lot of things that Candace says. There are some things I do agree with what she says, but I don't agree with a lot what she says. I don't agree with a lot what Umar Johnson says, but I can look at Umar and I kind of feel like Umar is a bit of a con man. You know what I'm saying? I really do. But I can say, okay, you're making some points on this. But Candace, to say that this girl is destructive for our community, no, she's not. No, she's not. Let me tell you what Candace's issue is. Let me tell you what my issue with Candace is. Matter of fact, let me play it a little bit more, and I'm gonna highlight a lot of stuff.
Folk got rid of her. The right wing got tired of her on the issue of Israel versus Palestine when she had a fleeting moment of revelation.
A fleeting moment of okay.
And now she's accepted and embraced. If that's what black conservatism is, her or Jason Whitlock or Clarence Thomas, who has been a singular source of destruction for our people, the black conservatives ain't got much to recommend.
Here's the thing that and I'm just about to cook in a second. Here's the thing about what I hate about the Democrats, especially black Democrats. Okay. First of all, black people are not a monolith. In order for you to actually get something done, in order for you to actually move a society forward, you got to have dissenting arguments and dissenting conversations. You got to actually sit down and have the tough conversations. And just because somebody doesn't necessarily agree with you, just because somebody's viewpoint on a matter is different from yours, it doesn't mean we throw them away. It doesn't mean that we excommunicate them. What has Candace Owens actually done that has caused a fundamental a problem within the? What power has Candace Owens actually exerted besides her own opinion? What law and legislation has Candace Owens actually passed? You don't like what she says, fine. Then come with a better argument. I can argue against Candace right now. First of all, I think the sister is highly intelligent. I think the sister, look, you come at Candace and you come half-step and Candace gonna light you up like a Christmas tree. And I think that's one of the reasons why Ben Shapiro got rid of her, because Candace is like a Doberman. Like she is, when she smells blood, it's over. And I don't think too many people really actually want to step in the ring with her and debate her. Because one thing I've noticed about this young lady, one thing I've noticed about Candace is Candace don't wade in the water of things that she don't know about. If she gets into a conversation, she's gonna be well informed, right? And she's one of those people that is really trying to figure out what is true and what's not. Candace is she has that I want to know. So I'm gonna go further because I want to know. She has that type of mentality. I'm curious about these things. I want to find out what the truth is. Right? Now, that doesn't mean she always come out on the right side of what the truth is. That doesn't mean that. But that's how she is. And I can respect that. When it comes to matters of her and, okay, I'm going to say it like this right here. Candace is right on the sickness of the Black community, the fatherlessness that happens in the Black community, the fact that we don't have Black male leadership in the Black community. Now, never not one time have I actually heard Candace say that it's Black men's fault for abandoning her family. I've never heard her say that, not one time. Never. She said that the government incentivizes certain things so that the family can be broken. She said that. Me and her are in totally agreement about that. The sickness, what's going on in the Black community, why the Black community can't seem to heal itself, why the Black community is, me and Candace Owens 100% agrees. We disagree on how we got there. We disagree on how we got there. Now, we agree, me and her actually agree on what we need to do to heal ourselves. We both agree that we can't rely on the government to fix it. I believe that we must turn back to the Most High because I believe we are the true Yasharites. I believe that. However, I don't believe that the government's going to come and save us. I don't think they have an incentive to do anything for Black people. We are literally the consumer class. 95% of Black people are in the consumer class. We are not creating much of anything that we own, and it's our intellectual property, and that, you know, we are creating generational wealth off of it. We don't. Most of the times that we find people in the African American community that has that type of generational wealth, they still don't own their things, i.e. Kanye West. That's the reason why Kanye did what he did. I thought it was ingenious. He acted a fool so he can get counsel so he can go start his own thing. I thought it was ingenious. I didn't think he was crazy. I realized what he was doing because the dude is not a dummy, right? But in the sports world, in the entertainment world, in all of those things, we do majority of the creating. We do the majority of the marketing. Look, LeBron James and Steph Curry, two African-American cats, are the face of the NFL. Of the NBA, I'm sorry. They are making the NBA a $1 billion business every, 9, 10, 12 billion every year. Not the owners, not the hidden hand. They are not the face of their own company. The only person that I can think of right now is probably the face. Two people. Mark Cuban. He's the face of the Dallas Mavericks. But when you think of the LA Lakers, you think of LeBron James. When you think of the Golden State Warriors, you think of Steph Curry. They are the face. Michael Jordan single-handedly changed basketball. To me, that's why he will always be the greatest, not because of what he did not just alone because of what he did on the court, but because the impact that he had on the game. Period. And Michael Jordan makes so many millions a year off Nike. with his Jordan brand. But guess what? He don't even own Jordan brand. He got like a percentage, like 3 or 4% percentage of that. But it's arguably the most recognized shoe around the world, even more than its parent company. But he don't own it. You may think that, oh, that's a lot of money. It's still trinkets in the grand scheme of things. All these albums, the Tupacs, the Notorious B.I.G.'s, your Urshas, your R. Kelly, Michael Jackson's mother right now is in court fighting for his catalog. That's a whole different topic. Prince is the only one that still maintained his catalog after death. All of these people, they made a lot of money, but they still don't own their own intellectual property. Anyway, let me get back at it.
For their particular viewpoint.
This is what I think we're missing. And I'm not defending any of these people at all.
Sam.
What I think with somebody like a Candace Owens, I don't think certain black people didn't realize she already had a large audience of black people. She had a movement called Blexit. And that was 6-7 years ago where she was trying to get black people in particular.
That's correct. She was trying to get black people to leave the Democratic Party.
To get off the Democratic plantation and seek other things, whether it was being a conservative, being an independent, whatever it is. So I think now when people say this thing about, oh, it's black people embracing her, it's like, nah, she already had an audience of black people.
With that being said, let me finish this thought because I had took a pause on the video. But let me finish this thought that I was getting to about Candace Owens. We don't, I guess, as I was saying, we don't really own anything. We don't own our own intellectual property. Okay? So there's a reason why they're incentivized to keep us as the consumer class, because we make people wealthy. I'm not talking about rich. I'm not talking about being rich. There's a difference between being rich and wealthy. Wealth goes for generations. You may be rich, and when you die, that's it. Wealth goes for generations. We make people and we make families wealthy, and we don't get wealthier ourselves. Here's where I disagree with Candace Owens on. As I said before, I disagree with how we got there. Candace and a lot of other black conservatives, what they do wrong is they ignore the hand of white supremacy. They ignore that there were things that were systematically done to black people. They were done on purpose. They were done to make it so that we never own anything, and that everything. I just did the video earlier about Cam Newton and how the coach tried to sabotage his career because Cam didn't come to Mississippi State. Cam was looking out of his own best interest. Okay? And this man tried to end his career. That is a microcosm of what actually had happened to black people in the past. We're not even have to go back to slavery. Let's just talk about, and here's my fundamental issue with Republicans. It's the same thing I have with Candace Owens. My fundamental issue with Republicans is Republicans ignore the same government that Republicans have a problem with taking away your freedom of speech, your freedom of everything. Or Republicans believe on keeping government out. Government is too big. Government need to be small. Government should have that much impact in your lives. That same government that Republicans are constantly railing against. They shouldn't take that much out of your paycheck. They shouldn't do it. That same exact government, black people are saying, hey, the government put us in this situation. And most Republicans say, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, that's fake. That's fake. That's not real. That's my problem with most Republicans. You're fighting against the same system that black people, and you know that impacted black people. You are supposed to be the party that freed the slaves, remember? So you know that this disproportionately affected black people. It was targeted towards us. Black people are owed reparations. If you want to ignore slavery, we're owed reparations because there were government intervening systems and laws and things that were put in place that was purposely kept black people down and did an exchange of wealth. Even if you don't even want to go back to slavery now, I think that, my opinion about reparations, pay what you owe, right? You put people in bondage, you made a nation wealthy off of them, pay what you owe. There's plenty of ways that you can make up for what you've done to where you can even the playing field to where you can make black people more economically viable. But it's purposely done. It's a thing that is purposely done not to. You can easily say black people don't have to pay taxes. Descendants of slaves don't have to pay taxes. Descendants of slaves get to go to college for free. Government give you grants to start business as a descendant of slaves. There's many ways that you can come and you can compensate black people, but you don't want to do it. Yet Israel is getting $30-something billion in warplanes. Ukraine getting all these billions of dollars in weapons. So you don't want to do it. That's why black people, to me, shouldn't even really consider any party until they acknowledge what has been done. Now, me and Candace agree on black people they're gonna have to get it out the mud. We're gonna have to start ignoring the government and get it out the mud. We agree on that. But I'm not gonna ignore the complicity of white people and white supremacy. I'm not gonna do that. That's my problem with her. Now, my biggest problem with the Democrats is Democrats talk to black people as though black people are still in the 1800s. Democrats, when they don't like somebody, they say they're racist. That's what they do. All of the while passing policies and signing bills into law that actually directly affect black people negatively. They're fighting for abortion rights. Okay. You want, they say a woman's right. And black women fall for this every time. They fall for it every time. Never mind the fact that if you get pregnant this day and age and you bring a baby to term this day and age, you just want to be pregnant. I'm not even talking about getting pregnant and getting an abortion because I don't believe in abortion. But if you are a mother right now, if you are a single mother right now, you literally chose to be. There's so many different contraceptives out there. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, I personally don't believe you should be out there doing that stuff prior to marriage anyway, but there's so many contraceptives out there. If you get pregnant right nowadays, man, you wanted to get pregnant. But black women, see, let me go ahead and because there's no need to have Mike up here anymore because, I'm just going to go ahead and cook. Let me go ahead and say this. Black women, everybody gets wealthy and rich off of you because they play into something that every man, we know how a woman is. We know how women are. See, men are a certain way and women are a certain way. Men deal in the realm of logic, mostly. Men, not grown boys. Men deal in the realm of logic. Women mostly deal in the realm of emotion. Whenever you find a man dealing too much in his emotions, we say he's feminine. Whenever you find a woman dealing too much in logic, we say she's masculine. But there's something else that we are. Men in our logical minds, we are always thinking long term. We are thinking about the future. We're thinking about, if I make this decision today, how am I going to be impacted from this decision for weeks to come? Women don't think like that. Women think in the short term. Ooh, I want this because I think this is nice. Ooh, I want that because I think that's nice. I want this house because this makes me feel like I have this type of status. And when we come together, they're supposed to be complementary to each other. We're supposed to balance each other out. That's what's supposed to happen. But they tell you something, especially when it comes to abortion rights. They say certain things to you that make you feel like somebody is restricting you or somebody's preventing you from living your best life. and they call it women's rights, a woman's right to choose. It never dawned on you, what are you actually choosing? It never dawned on you that you're actually choosing to whether somebody is going to live or die. Every woman that I've known that has ever got an abortion, and I've known quite a few. I've literally sat on the phone with these women as they're bawling their hearts out, crying because of the guilt that they felt by taking a life. I am not kidding you. But they put it in your community, not because they care about you, black women. No, that's not what they put it in your community. They put it in your community because they want your numbers to either stagnate or dwindle. That's what they want. See, they tried this before and it didn't work. Back when we was in Mitzrayim, the Mitzrayim, or the Egyptians, looked at the Ebre women and said, man, they are producing. Pharaoh thought to himself, we need to do one of the numbers. So who did they attack? They came at all the male children. If it's a male, kill it. If it's a female, keep it. But the Bible says the Ebre women, or the Hebrew women, feared Yahuwah, so they wouldn't go through with it. Because, now what did Pharaoh say? Let us deal wisely with them. Let us deal wisely with them, lest they join up with another nation and get out of the land. You don't understand that's what it's all about? It's all about us becoming a nation and joining with another and taking our wealth away from here. Because it's here. It's in the African-American community. The Bible, when the children of Yasharel left Egypt, that it broke them. Because they were consumer class. They were slave class. It broke Mitzrayim. Pharaoh thought about that. He was like, these son of a, let's go. I'm gonna round them up. Let's go. The word says it broke them. So it's been done before, women. They always attack you because they don't want you to become a nation, a great nation. They don't want the men to step in and lead you. So that's why they try to tell you that somebody is doing something horrible to you. And it's not true. Now, let me get back to the topic at hand. One of the reasons why I actually did this topic is because me and my father had this conversation when I seen him a couple days ago. And my father kept saying to me that the Democrats fight for black people. And I told him, no, they don't. Matter of fact, let me pull Michael back up here. Let me get him back going. Nah, I don't cook a little bit. Let me get him back going. Because he's going to say something very similar.
When we say black people, we're talking about new black people who weren't embracing her before. The black people who weren't, look, of course they are conservative. Maya Angelou, a dear friend of mine whom I loved, who I think was right 99.9% of the time. I think she was wrong about supporting Clarence Thomas. Give him a chance. Let's see what he'll do when he. Are we going to ascribe that to an issue of mental health, or are we going to say that's your?
That's something specific I'm looking for.
And especially when we already know the truth. The truth is right there in your face. The cops who killed George Floyd, they're in prison. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw.
We know that. It's enough black people who may not understand what the differences are ideologically and politically between what they articulate and what the interests of African-American people are to make a difference.
I think a lot of people are, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I think a lot of people are tired of, I call it the daddy's law in my house, right? The daddy's law in my house is, I said it and you do what I say, don't ask me no questions. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a lot with Democrats, right? We see things sometimes when we ask a question and be like, oh, you going against us. I'm not going against you. I'm asking the question, right?
Right.
We talk
That
about
is true.
Biden, right? When you talk about Biden and people thought he had amnesia, just watching the things that he do. And then when you ask about it, it's like, oh, you going against him. You giving the Republicans ammunition. No, I'm just asking because I might not want that Democrat as my
Any
president.
critique of Democrats,
I might
when
not
you
want
black
that.
automatically makes you the worst
Migrants,
person ever.
where the money
Right.
goes, with this, that, and the other. If I ask a question or question anybody, like I can question you, you can question me.
Sure.
Doesn't necessarily mean we enemies. Doesn't mean I'm going against you, but we just having a real conversation. And I think that's what bothers a lot of Black Americans when it comes to Democrats.
I get that. I mean, but if you think that's a problem with Democrats, what in the hell do you think that's in regard to Republicans who
See that? See that? See that? You know what I'm saying? Look, let me say this. I'm going to bring this video to a close. The Democrats are not fighting for you. The Democrats are using you as a tool to stay in power, to enact their ungodly agenda. The Republicans ain't fighting for you because the Republicans are really trying. The Republicans are wholeheartedly, I'm going to tell you what they're trying to do. The Republicans are trying to stay in power as a demographic. Let me break that down. My father asked me when I was home a few days ago, my father asked me, did I believe Donald Trump was a racist? All right. And I laughed and I answered. I said, no, I don't. I don't believe he's a racist. My dad went all left field, whatever. And I was just laughing the whole time. I mean, listen, let me tell you something. My father's 84 years old. My father has seen and went through some things that I can't even fathom. Some of the things he's told me about. So I'm always going to give my father his due respect. But I also know that my father is triggered. I also know that Republicans sound a lot like what he used to experience when he was younger. Democrats lie to you and say that, hey, we like you, but on paper, they're not doing anything for you. Okay? So it's easy for my father to believe that Donald Trump is a racist because he already believed that most Republicans are racist. That's what he believes. So here's what I think about that. I don't think Democrats are fighting for you, and I don't even think Republicans are fighting for you. I don't think Republicans hate you. I think Democrats, I think they both are, they're two sides of the same exact coin. Okay? But I think that Republicans are trying to maintain their power as a white dominant society. And I don't, and I know I just said that I don't think it has a lot to do with racism, because I think racist is when you pass in policies to purposely subjugate a certain community. And I think by and large, the entire government has done that. But I think it's just a matter of if you take the race out and you change it to tribe, I think it's this tribe just wants to stay in power. Point blank, period. It's they want to stay the superior person. So let me just go ahead and bring this to a close, Here's what I think. I don't think that black people should be voting for anybody. I think Republicans are primarily white evangelicals and they're not godly. And I think the Democrats are liberals, booty bandits, transgender agendas, all of those things, and they are completely ungodly. So I think what black people need to do, I think black people need to remain out of this fight. Because either way we go, or if somebody comes to us and says, hey, we want your vote, they got to give us one hellified deal. And I think reparations should be at the top of that. That's what I believe. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to this video. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I appreciate you for staying with me. Thank you, man. And shalom, good people.